Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress video, and it's time for the Aquarius season video. So, Aquarius, as many of y'all know, is the star card, but is also the 5, 6, and 7 of swords. So the 7 of swords ends, I'm recording this pretty early. The 7 of swords actually doesn't even start until February 9th or 10th. And it ends on February 18th, right around, these are approximate dates astrologically from what I have written down in my calendar, so don't completely quote me on it, but it's around that time. So I started thinking about, I couldn't sleep last night, and I was thinking about the 6 of swords. So for me, the story that I always tell with the 6 of swords is that you are moving, you've had some traumatic shit happen to you, and you're moving, from choppy waters down here to a calmer horizon. So you are, this is the most like the star card, right? The 6 of swords is the most like the star card. And the question, or the story that I've always thought of is like, okay, you got all these swords sticking in the boat. And if the swords represent your traumas, you can't take them out of the boat because then there would be holes in the boat where the swords were sticking in. So you drown. So you have to take your traumas with you. You have to. But then I started thinking about, okay, so if Aquarius is 5, 6, and 7 of swords, does that mean that the 5 of swords is the choppy waters? And the 7 is the calm? And if you look at it like just image-wise, you see, okay, the 5 of swords normally thought of as like isolation. Someone has just won this battle, but at the expense of their friends. They've isolated themselves. They have distinguished themselves, but also isolated themselves. So, and then we have the scary clouds here. So this is the choppy waters. If you just go by sky, we've got choppy sky here, and we've got beautiful, hopeful yellow sky here, right? The hope of the star represented here in the sky. I used to, whenever I was first learning tarot, I had a hard time really distinguishing the different meanings between the 5 and the 7 of swords, and generally, the key phrase that pops up in my head with 5 of swords is self-saboteur, and then with the 7 of swords, it's Schrodinger's truth, because a lot of people will say that it is a liar card, that someone is lying to you whenever you get the 7 of swords. But the truth is, we don't know. We don't know what this person is doing. And we can't know. We don't know if this person is taking what's rightfully theirs, or if this person is stealing these swords. We don't know. But the joyful look on his face, the yellow sky, I don't know. I think this is a more positive card. Positive, than we would normally think of. And because I am now conceptualizing it like the 6 of swords is transitioning from the 5 to the 7, this is the horizon. This is the hopeful horizon. So if the 7 of swords is the hopeful horizon, how does that change the way that I view the card? So that's kind of the questions that I'm asking myself right now. I haven't fully answered them yet, so I'm hoping you guys will have some insights for me in the comments, so let me know. But what I'm thinking, okay, so taking my whole... So here, we've stolen some swords, we've isolated ourselves from others. We've won a battle, I guess, and taken the weapons from the people that we won against. But what are we going to do with all those fucking swords? Those swords turn into traumas. Those swords are now stuck in our boat. But we need them while we're still in the boat. But here's what I was thinking. I hope I can explain this. But last night, or this morning, as I was sitting awake, I was like, what if this guy... Okay, so they've gotten to the other shore. They are, starting their new life. What if this guy has just taken... Maybe we can't see the boat. Maybe this, is a dock. I mean, probably it's not. But let's say it is. And these two swords here are still sticking in the boat. And this person here knows the trauma that these people have gone through. And they also know that sometimes traumas can be addicting. Sometimes the things that traumatize us are also the things that we're addicted to, such as smartphones, online shopping, addictions to alcohol or drugs, just any addictive behaviors we are using them to cover up trauma, but we're also traumatizing ourselves by putting ourselves in those compromising situations, right? We are creating traumas for ourselves in order to cover up the ones we've already gone through. So maybe this person is actually creating a more hopeful future for these people because he's taking the swords out of the boat once they've reached the other shore. So they've taken, let's say the Six of Swords is, let's follow this as an addiction allegory. Okay, somebody has a really debilitating addiction to alcohol or drugs. They've recognized this is the situation where they are in service of that addiction. They've isolated their friends and family because all they can do is pursue the addiction. This is the point where they have recognized that they have a problem, and maybe they're starting to go to therapy, going to a doctor, going to a rehab facility, something like that. And they've asked someone for help. They've reconnected to another human being again and asked them for help. And that's who this person is. Maybe this person is their therapist and is helping get them from this point to this point. And once they get to the other shore, maybe this is this person, maybe it's someone else. This person so you needed the swords in the boat as you were traveling. But now that you're at the other side, this person has removed the swords from the boat. Because it doesn't matter if the boat sinks now, because you're on the other shore. And this prevents you from being able to use the boat. Now the boat sinks, you can't go back. You can't go back to this. This is the shadow work right here. Because you have to figure out if these swords are representing your addictions or your traumas or just barriers isolating yourself from others. You got to take them where you're going for now, but then once you get to a safer space, you can remove them. Does that make any sense? It made sense to me whenever I was half awake this morning. So I no longer think, okay, so I do still hold you don't know what this person is doing, Schrodinger's truth. I do still think of Seven of Swords as Schrodinger's truth. But it's more of an acceptance that you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be in control of everything. You don't have to know everything. This person here needs to be in control. But their ways of controlling things are isolating them from others. So it's not a real control, because no one can have complete control. It's not possible. So this is the hopeful moment, because why would this be a negative card? The whole someone lying to you thing. Let's just flip through, just because using skies as indicators to what's going on in different cards. Okay, you got the Ten of Swords. black motherfucking sky. But then there's also the hope down here. So this blackness is going to clear, and you've got, I mean, it's a little bit of hope, but it's still there, and it's that yellow. Yellow is hope. This one is just sort of a neutral sky. No sky in that one. I mean, I don't know, do you count this orange stripiness as sky? I guess? I don't think that's sky. I think that's like rock. Because it's the same as this background here, right? More of a neutral sky here because, yeah, you're trapped inside your own head, but the world is more neutral around you than you think it is. Neutral sky in the King of Cups. Again, Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is a bright yellow sky. It's I get everything I want. I have everything I need. I am fulfilled and happy. Yellow sky. Sort of a green. So, I mean, I guess I should point out the colors can be different in different decks. I am using the Tarot Original 1909, I think is what it's called. But I mean, this is very similar to, like, you know, the Centennial coloring that most people do use. We have sort of a green, just like the Star card. Very similar here. It's hope. Hope is this sort of green color. It's kind of the same as this. It looks different on my viewfinder, is making it look kind of taupe. I don't, but hopefully it looks. So we've got, like, yeah, a very sort of bleak taupe-ish color for the Three of Swords. Got just a regular sky color, that regular. Okay, I don't need to go through the whole thing. Sort of a warm sunset-y sky for the Two of Wands, which is a hopeful moment. Okay, I'm just flipping through to see, like, what other indicators, what other sky indicators. I mean, this is just black because addiction is black, right? Again, super hopeful card. I'm changing my outlook on, I mean, I've always kind of felt more hopeful towards the Seven of Swords than most people do, but this is sort of a repeat of the clouds in the Five, but they're different colors. These are like sort of bleak, storm coming in sorts of clouds. And this is more just action, clouds of action. You are the storm coming in the Knight of Swords. Okay, just trying to find. Again, yellow background is the Magician. It's a hopeful, happy, positive energy. Knight of Pentacles, bright yellow background. Strength, bright yellow background. Nine of Pentacles, bright yellow background. Queen of Pentacles, bright yellow background. Neutral, neutral, neutral. Chariot, bright yellow background. Of course, we've got the snow in the Five of Pentacles. Bright yellow background in the Empress. More of a neutral, watery background in High Priestess. Because it's not supposed to make you feel one way or another. Like it's a neutral energy, right? The deep, dark blackness of the middle of the night when you can't sleep. And the Nine of Swords. I think the moon should be darker, don't you think? Like, not as far as, like, you know, in the energy, but just the fact that it's supposed to be nighttime. Why is this card so bright? Anyway, okay, I'm just looking at skies. Here's another yellow, obviously the Fool. Very neutral with the Knight of Cups. Neutral, neutral. Anyway, just flipping. Maybe I should be showing you what I'm doing. She says after she's almost done. The black sky of the Tower. Another bright yellow for the Page of Pentacles. Another bright yellow for the King of Pentacles. Which all the Pentacles core cards have a bright yellow background. So I don't think that the Seven of Swords is supposed... I mean, 7 is supposed to be like a holy number too, right? What other 7s do we have? The 7 of Wands, standing up for yourself. 7 of Cups, daydreaming. 7 of Swords, Schrodinger's truth. 7 of Pentacles, sort of taking a step back and reassessing what's going on. So it's a card of readjustments, right? Like if you're daydreaming, you're probably thinking of better circumstances, thinking of new possibilities. If you're in the 7 of Pentacles, you're reassessing. In the 7 of Wands, you are gaining higher ground and distinguishing yourself from others. So it's a readjustment. It's not someone's lying to you. I don't know. That's what I think anyway. That's what I think anyway. I think this person is not being sneaky, actually. This person looks like they're dancing. They're dancing away with the traumas that are stuck in the boat. That's what I think. They have taken the traumas out of your boat now that you've gotten to the other shore, now that you've gotten to the bright yellow skies. They've taken those traumas out of your boat because that boat, we have no use for it anymore. We're not going to go back to here. We're not going to go back. We've made that mistake already. We're done. And that is the journey of Aquarius. You know, it's that moment of, you know, like things aren't perfect yet. You know, the Star card is, I view it as that moment after a traumatic event where you know you're going to live. It's that moment. You're like, okay, I actually am going to make it through this. I am. It's that moment. And it is one of the most beautiful moments because after you've gone through a trauma, you have a lot of mood swings, you know? Like, you're either deep, dark despair or you're incredibly grateful for every little tiny thing that is going right. Like, I'm sorry to bring up the fucking tornado all the time, but it is a significant tower moment in my life. And I remember my first day back to work after the tornado. It was like 6 days later. It was a Saturday. The tornado happened on a Sunday. I had called into work a couple days during the week because I had to fucking try to recover what I could recover from my house. I was in survival mode, you know? So my first day back to work was 6 days later. And I was in despair, sitting in the parking lot crying, like, how am I going to fucking work today? How am I going to be a public servant today when my life is a mess and everything, like so much of the town was destroyed that you just assumed that every single resource in your town was gone. And every time you found out, oh, this particular place hasn't been affected, this particular place hasn't been affected, I would just like break down and cry with gratitude that places still existed. You know, like, even though my house was destroyed, my mom's house was destroyed, my grandma's house was destroyed, my sister's house was destroyed, even though all those spaces were wiped out, I still had my job. Because my job, the library, was on the other side of town, and it was unaffected. And I remember that first day working, it was so hard to go to work, but one of the first things I did was I went into the bathroom. I went into the bathroom because I needed to like compose myself before I started my shift. And it was the weirdest thing because it was just like a little employee bathroom. There's nothing special about it. But being inside that little space that was exactly the same, everything in my life felt like it was in complete upheaval. But I walk into this bathroom that was completely unchanged and it calmed me down. And the walls inside that bathroom were painted this color. Kind of more of a more warm tone, darker shade. it was kind of funny because it was a bathroom and it was just like painted urine yellow on the walls. But, I mean, it was a pretty color. But, you know, that moment always stuck out to me because it was the first moment where I was like, one of the first moments where I was like, okay, here is something, this is actually not going to be so bad. You know, I was so afraid to go back to work. But I was actually like, oh no, this is good. This is a distraction from the total destruction of my fucking life right now. I'm homeless. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a place to live. For 2 months, I didn't have a place to live. I mean, I had a place where I was staying. But for 2 months, I didn't have a place to live. And that moment of realizing that work was actually going to be a good thing because it was a space that was unchanged. It was a space that I was comfortable in. Anyway, it was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment. So that is how I view the star card. I view the star card as those little moments where you realize you are actually going to survive this. So I feel like it's been, it's been a thing, Aquarius season. Aquarius season is a lot of thinking, a lot of emotions, a lot of reassessing. And I haven't even gotten to, like, as I'm recording this, it's a day before we actually start Seven of Swords. So, I'll have to report back if I have a different experience of actually, because this is the first time that I am paying attention to, like, okay, right now I'm in Seven of Swords. What does this point of the year feel like to me? So this will be my first time really paying attention to that. So we shall see if I have a different impression of it than what I'm thinking right now. But another thing I think I haven't pointed out, I keep calling Seven of Swords Schrodinger's truth. So if you don't know, there was an experiment, I don't know, a long time ago, psychological experiment, where they like trapped a cat in a box. I think it was just a thought experiment. It wasn't like they actually trapped a cat in a box. And they, the idea was that you couldn't see into the box, so you did not actually know for sure 100% if the cat was alive or dead. And the idea was that you can't know, and yeah, I don't even know, like, what was the point in that? The point is, you don't know. You can't know everything. And the point of Seven of Swords, to me, like, with that extra layer on top of it, that I'm now thinking that this person is actually taking swords out of a boat, either knowingly or unknowingly saving these people from going back to the choppy waters. Like, maybe this person isn't trying to help them, but they are. They're preventing them from going back. They're preventing them from going back to the abusive boyfriend or whatever it is. They got out, and now their source of transportation to get back is no more, because the boat sinks without the swords in them. But the point is, we're not gonna have the answer. Like, that's, instead of someone's lying to me whenever I pull Seven of Swords in a reading for someone, it's, okay, whatever it is that you feel like you want to get to the bottom of, that you want to know the absolute truth of, you're not gonna find the answer, so just let it go. You're not gonna know. You're not gonna ever know. So it does still deal with trust, I think, the Seven of Swords. But you're never going to fully know if you can trust someone. You just have to try. Like, maybe in the Five of Swords, this person has decided, this person definitely has decided, I can't trust anyone. I can only rely on myself. But it turns out you need someone else in the Six of Swords. You need someone else. So then you decide, okay, well, maybe there's a lot of people I can't trust, but there's some people that I can. And since I'm never going to know, I just have to try. It's better to just, I don't know, it's almost better to trust too many people and be fucked over some of the time than to trust no one and be completely isolated, There's this William Wegman. He was the photographer that did all the photos of the Weimaraner dogs. a William Wegman, like, 12 Days of Christmas VHS tape that my mom had. I say growing up, but I wasn't like a child. I don't think she got it until I was a teenager. But we watch it almost every Christmas. I think we forgot to do it this year. But it's just this really cheesy, like, it was probably originally on Sesame Street or something, I would assume. Just really cheesy, like, Weimaraner dogs with, like, humans putting their arms through a sweater so that it, you know, anthropomorphized, you know, Julie's favorite thing. But it's just this funny, like, Christmas special thing, and what I always think of is a quote from that. It's my long introduction. This is gonna mean nothing. Although, somebody, if you know about William Wegman, 12 Days of... Faye's 12 Days of Christmas, that's what it was called. Faye was the name of one of the Weimaraners. And Batty was the name of another Weimaraner. And there was this one scene, it was like teaching kids how to share or some shit, where they were showing Batty having stolen all the toys, but all the other, so Batty was sitting by herself with all the toys, and then like the other three dogs were on the other side of the screen having no toys. And, you know, the idea was that she had isolated herself. She stole all the toys. Yeah, she's got all the toys now, but everybody's mad at her because Batty sucks. And anyway, the quote is, "Through shrewd dealings, Batty was able to acquire all the toys," or something like that. Through shrewd dealings. So I always think of that. That always plays in my head when I pull the Five of Swords. Through shrewd dealings, he was able to acquire all the swords, but now he has no friends, you know? Anyway, you guys know. Aquarius season. Okay, bye!